So starting where we left off, I'll go in the back space, get that out of the way, and if you remember I'd left it in this condition, so all I'm going to do is just glue that up. This is the part I normally leave out when I do things. I'm dreadful, I am, but I've made an effort today to do it, to show everybody what I do. Okay, push the ends in quickly like so. On the other side, like so, on the side. So, any bumps, get rid of them, and then the bone folder. A little bit dry there. It's very hot and things are drying out really quickly, and I try and use as little glue as possible so it'll stick quickly, and I'm defeating myself. Rub it into the box, just marrow in there. Make sure it's not sticky. Make sure there's no lumps. Okay, so that's that done. Bottom's in quite nicely, and the mitered joints, make sure there's no lumps so it doesn't stand up, stick up. And what we're going to do now, I'm going to take off these little corners here which are a bit long. You don't have to take them off if you don't want to, but I take them off because it tends to make a smarter job. And I'll take them up at 1/2 inch, 9/16 in my case. 1/2 inch is close enough. And just cut the little pieces off. One there. And one there, get rid of them. Do the same with the sides. Get it out of the way. You could do this earlier on, but the thing is I like to leave it till the last minute, because I know then that we don't need it anymore in case we've made a mistake or something happens. I'm only taking these off to remove the excess bulk. There we are. I'm hurrying up to go slow here. And what we can do now is to put those ends in. So I'll put those ends in, just stick them in. Where am I? Okay, I'll lift that one over and push it in. Push it in tight to the side. And the same with this one, push it in. And for people that's made books before, you'll see that there's a little corner there, just there, with a raised lump on, like what you do on a bookend. So if you nip that in with your thumb and press it down, you'll find it covers that corner quite nicely. I'll go back because I'm sure I'm not in focus there. And you find it covers that corner quite nicely, and when this comes over it will cover everything up nicely. Okay, so I'll do the same to the other side. Okay, put that corner in, press it in, put this one over, press it in, and there you'll see we're left with that little bit at the corner again, which we just nip over like we would in a book with your thumbnail, and that covers the corner up quite nicely. Okay, so I'll go in a bit further this time. I'm sorry if I keep going out of shot, I'm doing my best. And now what we do is put the sides in and the other side in. But they do, you can cut the corners, there's a special little cut you can do on the corners, but I don't do it because it seems to fail for me every time. I don't know why. You put a little, what you can do, you can put it down like that and cut the corner and then cut down, but I tend to leave the corner on. I don't tend to do that anymore because it leaves it started to leave a little space which I wasn't happy with. Anyway, I'll put these sides in first and then I'll show you what I do. Saves you a little bit of work. Let's see if I can get you a better shot. I keep going out of shot, I'm sorry. There we are. It's because the camera's behind me. I keep forgetting about it. Push the edges over, push the ends in, push them up, and this is thin paper so it goes in quite well. If it was thicker I'd have to do that corner that I was going to show you, but I'm not going to do it because it's something I don't do. Not anymore, because I think it leaves spaces which I don't want at the top. Okay, do the same on the other side then. That isn't a crack in the corners, it's white chalk off my pencil. And this paper does go in quite well because it's very, very thin. And the only thing that I do now with this is I put the white little bits on there, I hope you can see them. And you go down with a white piece about 2 millimeters wide, down to about 2 millimeters short of the top, and then you cut an angle in, and the reason for that will become clear in a moment. So what I do is cut down about 2mm, just to the both ends, and this will prevent doubling up of the paper at the ends, and also give you a piece to go over the top, which is what we want, to make sure the top is absolutely covered. Okay, and you've got two little pieces removed like that, and what you've got is that arrangement then. And what happens is it goes over the top and it forms a little, that goes over the top there, it'll be glued over the top, and then this bit goes down the bottom. So that's the only last technical bit that you do, or what if you want to call it technical, it's not really technical. You've got to be quite quick with this paper because it starts moulding and messing and buckling and bending almost immediately. Put the glue on, bend it in, hope you can see this. And then do the bottom bits. That one there, the paper's actually, I think, is it chalk or have I split the paper? Sometimes the paper splits. But if you don't worry about it, it'll go away. If you don't worry about anything, it will go away. Oh dear. Okay, well I hope that was clear, or it's as clear as I can make it. I don't know what else I can do to make it any clearer. And that's one half of the box, and the other half we've already made up. So we've got the two halves together, and one will fit into the other like so. There we are. And there you've got two halves of the box. And we've got to do a little bit on the base, and we've got to do a little bit on the inside. But basically it's done. A little bit, I've left a little bit there. The glue is drying up rather quickly. Just a matter of tacking it in. There we are. So that's your two boxes. One will fit inside the other like so, and once they've dried out and pulled each other in, you'll find there's enough room there for them to slide in quite. They're a bit thingy at the moment because they're both wet, but once they've dried out they'll draw themselves in. And I'll stop there and go on to the next section. Well, couple of things to do with the box to finish it completely. And it'll take a couple of pieces of whatever paper you fancy to put inside the box to line it. What we're doing actually is lining the box. And we need a piece to cover the inside, and we need a piece to do the back. And this paper is very, very thin, and we wouldn't ordinarily need it, but the reason I do it is because I don't forget it then. If I stop doing something, I tend to forget it and I don't do it forevermore. But normally this would be thicker than this very thin paper that I've got on. And if it's quite thick, when you come to stick this to another surface, you'll find it'll stick on the outer edges but not in the middle, because this has got no contact, or it won't have very much contact. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a piece in there to fill it in. It's just a filler, I mean it could be any colour, it doesn't matter what colour, because it's going to be out of sight underneath. And just to bring it up to the height. And what we're going to do is put a piece inside, and I've chosen pink, and this is a normal fool's cap, and the box I'm doing is an A5 box. I usually make everything A5 size, and what I do normally is just slip the paper in sideways. If it's bigger than, it's obvious that isn't big enough, obviously. You can see it's not big enough there at the sides. So what I'm going to do is put it in this way, line it all up, and this is where your box comes in into its own being square. It's square. Line it up and then put your bone folder in and make a nice little edge at the side there. Make a crease at the edge and a crease along the front, and you'll see that I'll give you a nice line for where you're going to cut. And when you cut inside the line, just inside the line, otherwise when it stretches it will stretch outside. And then on this front bit here, just do an extra ½ an inch to 3/4 of an inch. I've done it 3/4, and I just put a rule down and just drawn a line with my pencil, and I'm ready for cutting now. So that'll be the cutting for the inside the box. So I'll just cut that off. This is quite difficult to see, so I'll have to put a marker there and a marker there so that I can see what I'm doing. And I'll cut just on the inside of that, like so. Discard that bit, we don't need it. You can save it for later if you want. And then the line where it's going to go over, that's the other line for where it will pass over the edge of the box board. And then we can cut this off. And discard that. And what I do now, offer it up and just check it again. And there we are, perfect fit. Within reason. It will stretch, you can move it, you'll be able to move it in the final location. And what you can do now, you can either paste up the paper or paste up the box. I normally paste up the box because it saves messing. You don't have to put papers down. I hate putting bits of papers down and things like that. So I'll just move everything out of the way. And then, this isn't a long process. And you become quite adept at this, getting into the corners and things. So, with a little bit of care, make sure you don't go over the bottom. And the glue's really becoming really sticky now because the weather's quite hot. It's unusual for Britain, this kind of weather, and we aren't used to it, this heat. And now there's this glue, it doesn't like it either. Anyway, but things do glue up quickly, they don't take long. Yeah, I'm just about in the 80s in here. Try to make your glue even, get into those corners and along the edges. Put it on the edge of the board like so and line it up. And then just press it in. And you'll find it'll start to bubble in a minute. Press the corners round. So we're ready with your bone folder to take out any bubbles. I should have lined the bottom of this, but this is so thin, this paper, it doesn't matter. I should have really lined the bottom of the box. and then I wouldn't have had the raised section at the outsides, but it's very, very thin, this box, so I haven't bothered. The paper's thin, I'm sorry, not the box. And I'm keeping the pink Vogue for Rose. I think she likes this pink, or I hope she likes it anyway. Okay, that's fairly flat. What we'll do is just glue up the underneath. Make sure I'm in shot for you. Rub the excess off my hands, push the top over it, make sure it's all lying flat. Ensure that there's no more bubbles. Okay, there we are, and that's the box done. And all we've got to do now is to piece of paper that I've cut already for the inside, so I wasn't that good. I want to cut a little bit off that, so I'll just do a quick measure up. It doesn't have to be too pedantic about this, it's just a piece to fill the inside in the middle to take up the space. I tried to be ready in advance, but there you go. So I'll stick that bit on. As I say, I don't really need it on this box because the paper is so thin, but the thing is, if you use a thicker paper, it does make a difference when you put the box on, because we haven't got a method of squeezing these boxes. We haven't got a press or anything like that, so we've got to use books and things like that, and the flatter it is, the better it is, and the less weight you need. Because if you're working in a bedroom like I am, or places that we've got like the living room and things like that, bathroom, toilet, wherever you work, you'll find you just haven't got the room and the equipment. So you work with what you've got to hand. There we are. And that might bubble up just a little bit, so I'll be ready for that with my trusty bone folder. And that will take, and that will bring this up to the level of the outside. So we know that the glue will adhere on all the surfaces then. Because millimetres, well, thousandths of an inch count when you're doing this. If you haven't got the means to put the pressure on. Sorry, I'm out of shot there. Oh God, I'm terrible for going out of shot. Okay, so that's the box top, and I've already done the box lid, what you put the book in. So there they are, the two are now finished, and one will fit into the other, like so. And these are now ready. The book will go in like so. And then when it closes up, you've got that. Now what we've got to do is to do the base, to fit these two pieces onto to complete the clamshell itself, the whole thing. Just move that out of the way. So there we are. There we are, the book and the boxes. So I'll stop there and we'll carry on to the next one.